88% of business owners struggle with mental health. 1 in 3 are already burnt out. This was me. I was one of them, running a 7-figure business and completely exhausted. The signs were there: panic attacks, sleepless nights, this constant pressure I didn't switch off. Then that's when I realized it means nothing to have this big success if my health just completely disappears. Let's be honest, you won't recognize burnout until it physically happens or you're sitting in it right now. And let's just confirm some of those signs that I had: sleepless nights, working extremely late, having no days off, or when my days off were happening, I had anxiety or I just could not shut off the mental remuneration of thoughts. Feeling like if I stop and I stop doing all the tasks, meetings, and being around all of my staff, then it will just all completely fall apart. That's not commitment, that's chaos. That is, if it feels familiar to you right now, you're not failing, you just don't have the structure. And now looking back, I can really see that. Um, the shift really happened when I decided, what am I chasing for? What am I looking for in my company? The funny part is, I was looking for time when I started a company. You obviously chase after money and success and the people, but I was thinking, okay, work less, make more, have more time, and finding that structure of just big deals. But I was chasing more and more revenue every single year, more and more clients, and even putting in more hours because I thought that work was going to pay off if you just hustle and grind. But slow down and find sustainability and fast before you get completely fried. A healthy business supports your clients, your cash flow, your staff, and you. That's it. Nothing else, nothing too complicated. You have to really make it simple and less of confusion and complication and lots of things. There's 3 parts to burnout that I want to talk about. All right, so it's time. You need to grab a pen because we're going to do a quick audit. This is a 3-part audit. I love to do audits, so if you want to stay tuned to my channel, these are things to really get your notes down, your action plan, make the change the next day. So the first thing that I have is an audit of your workload. Reality check, right? Question number 1 that I have for you is, what tasks drain you the most? These tasks look like for me was being in my email box, cleaning it up, answering questions, booking calendar meetings, things that I really could automate and even had an assistant for, but it was a little bit of a control situation. This did take up my time, but the biggest thing that I noticed, I would wake up to do it instead of waking up to take care of myself. That is a very big sign that things are wrong. You don't want to be on a device as soon as you open your eyes. That is an immediate stress load. That is an immediate situation of just worry and jumping in and just do problem solving and not giving your brain the time to adjust to the world. Question number 2, which of these items that you do actually brings revenue? This is massive. You can get comfortable in doing day-to-day tasks like being in your email. That's not generating you any money. That's just communicating, problem solving, sending out requests, whatever. Yeah, obviously there might be an email from a client that wants something financially, but you should do that with your full mindset and set that time aside. Big revenue things for me was lead generation and being able to send out quotes and have a volume of quotes that were like effective. Because I was doing contracting, which is general contracting for home renovations. And I would get requests for clients that want to do kitchen, bath, their whole home, basement, and being more efficient in that than just trying to hide out and not do the big thinking, which was definitely something that I just kind of turtled when things got too crazy. And if it wasn't, yeah, I would do it properly. So, which actually brings you revenue, whatever your revenue model is. If you're baking pies, great. Are you baking enough pies that are ordered and placed out and getting those clients for your team? Or are you just hiding in the back cooking because it's just comfortable? Question number 3, which is actually one of my favorite because I got freedom from this. eventually was, what can I take out of the tasks that drain me above, or even tasks that I'm doing revenue wise that somebody else could do 80% better than me, and even bring that machine generating faster, better, and quicker. That was huge. To have an assistant who was already ahead of the game, pre ordering things for me, double checking my schedule and making things inside of it happen, reminding me of places to be, and just alleviating a lot of that thought, task that really did not bring the revenue. Like, you see how all three come together. Such a great audit piece. Okay, so we're on to part 2 of our audit. So here's some questions, but basically this one's audit your business model capacity check. So question number 1 that we have is, does your model require you to be on all the time? What does that even mean? Is your phone constantly ringing all day and you gotta go, go, go? Are you there for every one of your staff members? When you walk in the door, all of them have a question, or your assistant's like, well, what about this? What about that? What about this? For me, I even had a business partner and we had to go back and forth with stuff. So I always had to be on because I was the one with the answers. I was the one who knew the chief CEO items that needed to happen. And you know what? We didn't only have like one company, we had a second company as well. So this was like just doing so many things. So if you're always on, like, gotta be in front of a client, on your phone, at the email, at your client, at your staff, this is tough. This is a lot. Where can you place some of those boundaries? So jot that down. Question number 2, if you stopped for 7 days, what would happen? What would break? Like, maybe what would break first, like out of priority? So we did do this. Like, I'm not saying that all the years were tough. Like, we would go on 2-week vacations, but the question was, could we go and not have our phone or our laptop? It was quite rare. We took like one trip where everything was off and we had to lock away our cell phones, which was awesome. But this is a good test to really check your capacity and see, if you stopped for 7 days, would the company run? This is a test of your company, and that is a hard truth, but it's really worth it. And yes, you can do just a test by writing it down, like looking at it, or even just trying like a day or two and just stepping back. Sometimes, if you are a bigger company, like we were in the $1 million range, or you have staff, is what I really mean, is this is your chance to empower them. This is your chance to show trust and to build. And that's super important. The less you control or micromanage them, the more you can gain that traction of scalability and support of the people that you hired, because that's the whole point, especially if they can do things way better than you. That is just brilliant. So, question number 3, under business model and capacity, is selling time or solutions. This is truth. With a third company that I had, consulting, I have it right now actually, it's, do I want to sell the time or the solution? It's really a great test and model, and you can do both just to see where you can get. And what I mean by that is, I can sell my time to clients at $150, $200 an hour, whatever that looks like. Or I can say, what is the solution you're looking for your company right now, for 3 months, 6 months, even a year contract, which is possible, to really look and scale that completely for them. And then I have the opportunity of serving them as the solution at the value that makes sense. And now that whole time conversation that I was having, I'm not churning 10, 12, 14 hours a day. I can say, this contract, you have X amount of hours or X amount of my time, but we're resolving something over this project. And the scalability of that is just to be able to show the efficiency of your like skill set, your wisdom, your knowledge. And sometimes I'm working on projects and I have to gain that skill at the same time because it might be just a different industry. But that is a way better way of reducing or adjusting your time. I actually have a client who, we looked at their offering and their pricing, and it's just like, well, actually, if you made the model look like X, you can increase the price. Instead of giving just time value, we can give them the blanket of the offers that they're asking for, and even survey them to increase the revenue, decrease the time, or even sub it out so then you can marginally scale that way. So there's just ways to look at it if you look at the model of your business, because maybe you have employees, but really you should have subcontractors. Maybe you have subcontractors and really need to have employees. Maybe you could bring in technology that reduces the tasks and have few people, but it really supports them, and the human in the loop is a very efficient way to work. So time based can equal to burnout. So with the business model audit, those three questions you can look at. And basically, we're going to say that time based work is equal to burnout for you, the owner. And this doesn't mean that I mean like time based work is not how you can bill or do your clients, because you could definitely bring on more team members that are time based and then build that out as a margin. But the second piece that I'm going to kind of caveat with that is system based work, where your freedom is equal to the scalability. So now, yeah, you could be like a law firm and be billing out hours, but if you have other people that are sectioned to different offers in your company and you're overseeing it, now we're scalable. That's a system, that's a process and a procedure of having teams working for you in an hourly base, rather than you be the hourly based charger of your company solely, and even continuing that practice while you have a team on. It's just not efficient if you could lead and support and leverage other people's skills and availability. All right, audit number 3. And this one is going to take us home because it was the biggest one for me. Your energy and your health. Non negotiable. No you, no business, right? So, again, we're going to have 3 questions to review. So, the first one is, how often do you feel anxious, overwhelmed, tired, and exhausted? And another one that's not totally noticed is angry or short with people. That is a massive sign. In that situation for me, I was getting angry with my family. And that's when my husband was like, something gotta give. You are going too hard because your personality and your attitude has totally changed. Or I'd feel a little worried about something at all times. These are the biggest signs when your friends and your family or even your colleagues are aware of your being. You're being overwhelmed, you're being anxious, you're being busy, you're being exhausted. Like, these are things that just don't work. So that was a big eye opener for me, especially who I am almost 2 years later. I'm very calm, very peaceful, very joyful. Yeah, I still slip up, like stress happens. We're in 2025. So, but take a quick jot down of things that you notice even today. Were you angry with your kid, your friend, your family? Were you short and hung up on the phone with somebody? Did you feel like a little bit of just quick breaths or slow breaths or angry? Because the overwhelm is definitely in how you're breathing. If you're yawning and exhausted, had several coffees, these are all the signs of like just trying to keep your body alert or calm. Uncalm is what would be happening instead of being calm, if uncalm's a word. But question number 2, what are some, I love this word and it's so polarized, boundaries you'll set up this week? Boundaries does not mean to cut off, it means to limit if you wish. So you can cut some things off, like no longer maybe answering your phone, placing a situation where it's an automatic text. Hey, thank you so much for reaching out to me. I'm sorry I'm unavailable right now. If this is an urgent request, please send an email to X or phone the office. Something simple. If you're having them email you, majority of the time, this person can put the details in the email. You can get back to them when you please. If it is urgent enough, they will text you, and then you know to reply or not. Most people aren't that rude to just put it as, this is an emergency right away. This is the first step to reducing the tasks that you're having or the problem alert fire alarm that you're dealing with. That's kind of something that I did for myself, my colleagues. And building the email model, it does not build a cold situation, especially if you pre-warn your clients or colleagues, being like, this is just the system that we have. It's obviously not obviously, but if you read the 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss, this is where this comes from. But having the boundary of where people are contacting or coming to is very important. Great boundaries that I had was I turned off the alerts on my phone so that emails weren't constantly coming in or texts. I had to go into those apps to find out what's going on. Um, I did not go into those apps from my phone until I'd woken up, brushed my teeth, had something to eat, maybe gone to the gym, and then dealt with it. But knew that there was a time start of like 7:30 or 8 a.m. No work after 7 p.m. When I noticed that I was working late at the office continuously, that was the alarm bells as well. One unplugged day, you could pick, yes, you can pick a weekend if you're a Monday to Friday person, or you could pick during the week. That's random if you want to be catching up on the weekend. But there has to be a day where you're just not emailing, phoning, writing up documents, doing invoicing, handling staff, whatever that is. And again, communicate that to your family and your team. And then, yeah, it's important to protect your morning. Your morning is the start of the best start to your day. It's where you can get some crucial situations. If you're always rushing at that moment, you've actually increased the stress, cortisol, and anxiety into you every day. So if you wake up, brush your teeth, run out the door on your phone driving, God forbid you get into a car accident, or you're just not alert enough to do what you need to do, or you're short with somebody that's a big client, these are the reasons why you're not protecting your day. You're not protecting your morning. So that's a boundary that you have to have with your time. Question number 3 is, what daily actions will your future self thank you for? This is a little woo woo, but for myself, my daily actions is definitely getting into a book or reading, having some time with my kiddo who's homeschool and just like checking in with him and being focused on that. When it comes to work, for the daily actions was just setting a time to have like lunch with the colleagues or friends and just ask them what's going on with their life. Some of our friends worked in our business center that we were in. So it's just having like actions that bring joy, gratitude, and friendships, and making sure that you're implementing that. And it's not always business conversations, go, go, go. I make that dirty face because it's like, then you're just not living life. You don't want to die like 30, 40 years from now and be like, I just sat here and thought about and worked on and gave people things about work, and that's all they know about you, and not giving them time and attention and some treasures. So awesome. You just completed 3 audit areas. So quick and easy, right? It's great to journal, write things down, and get it off your mind, but also you got to take action on these things. You're going to take these questions and look at like a few areas for tomorrow that you'll just adjust your task list and be like, this is the new future me. Your future self will thank you. You'll be also more aware of things that you just maybe didn't know could just adjust a little bit via your phone, your email, your procedures with your staff or clients. So, the pathway out is the way that we're talking about today, and there is always hope. Always hope. I can see that now. I know in the time you can't always see it, but it's there. When I finally accepted health over hustle, that was a game changer. Everything changed. I built systems. I got a software. It was called Airtable, and I had a dev team that came in and worked with us, and they changed all of our documentation and the way that we were utilizing our systems to do 2 companies at the same time. And I was able to delegate out and churn things out quicker, faster, and more efficient. It's You gotta slow down the business, and it actually became just stronger by us cutting off some things. We actually took one of the business divisions out. It was just the expenses and overhead, the stress of running it. It was so busy. So the contracting piece that we did for several years, we just focused on the flooring division, and that portion of the business is where it just simplified. It was just a simpler model based on the system and data that we had. This is the difference between a business that drains you and a business that can thrive and sustain you and sustain the staff members that you have, which is why we're kind of in business. We're here to serve and impact others, especially clients too. So, in closing, I just want to invite you for the um, relief in what you're doing if you haven't felt it in a long time. It is very um, very important, and I think it hits home to leave this video knowing that you have the chance to pick up this audit, make some changes and honestly think about it, and have some decisions that you're committed to shift this week. And if you want to dive more into detail of operations, finance, marketing, and sales, and some areas that we're going to work through in this, you can stay tuned and watch some more videos. Thank you so much.